Alrighty, we are back in the saddle with the KK shit with Star Wars.
Yeah, we haven't come back to it since our initial response to the
which we kind of called it that it wasn't
unsubstantiated statements that she was leaving.
And we called it. We were right. Hey, we were right.
Yeah.
Just everybody calm down, and then so we don't have to backtrack, Anyway, so go check that video
we've been
out.
Following some of the drama, we just haven't really jumped on the bandwagon of jumping to conclusions based on incomplete information.
Yes. So,
but we did get some information from
Kamran Pasha, one of Doomcock's friends.
Yeah.
And his mole inside Lucasfilm, Sparrow, and he put a YouTube video out today, and we're going to respond to it.
Yeah, because it was some really interesting.
And his video was Saving Star Wars. Is Kathleen Kennedy's departure too late? And Kamran Pasha's response to the Blob, which is to him everybody that just jumps on a bandwagon and those eternal haters of Star Wars.
Yeah, and the smaller-ish YouTubers that where a lot of these alleged leaks
come from
surface.
Yes.
And all you hear about it is from like these small little independent, they're not like official or credible sources.
Let's take it from the top.
But
let's take it from the top. We'll talk about the Blob. Are we haters, eternal haters of Star Wars?
Oh God, no.
No. I just don't like where it's at and how it's being treated. It's being molested like a 3-year-old.
And
what at a Hollywood
what he said
interview.
The reason they call it the Blob is because it reminds them of a B-grade 50s monster movie like the Blob.
Yeah, they speak in unison.
They're not A-lister journalists or
they aren't even trying. They aren't even trying to find something new. They just repeat what they've heard. I don't think I don't think I've said it's too late. I might have, and in a sense it is.
There is
but in a sense it is too late. But
there is a contingent out there that really believes it's too late. Yes, it's already dead.
Yeah, but I am the eternal optimist.
That doesn't mean it can't
be fucking Lazarus
back.
Yeah,
you
just have to
let it die. Let this iteration of it die. And come back and just go back to the drawing board.
The best way to start is decanonize the sequel trilogy, bring back the EU, or something along those.
Do something completely
different. Yes, because I don't want.
Don't carry on into this whole
Time Warner horse shit.
Is
because I don't want to see the sequel trilogy.
Go back to the old Republic. Go back to the go back because there's plenty of stories to tell.
In one sense, it is very much that Star Wars ended in 1983, and it could have ended, and it ended with the prequels.
Well, the thing is that, Star Wars didn't end in 1983, but for the longest time, that was all we had.
Yeah.
Was those 3 movies.
Yes.
And it was just...
Oh, yeah.
It took over the #1 top sci-fi franchise in the world.
Yeah, it beat the fuck out of Star Trek.
When there were still only 3 movies.
Yeah.
It's all we had.
Yeah.
And some of the comics. But it was even before the EU even hit.
Yeah.
In the late 80s when it hit.
So that's what the Blob, and I kind of have to take issue a bit because in a sense it is dead, but it also can be Lazarus, absolutely. But you have to decanonize the sequel trilogy, flush all that shit from Mandalorian season 3, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, very much like what Skydance is going to have to do with Star Trek.
And Ben Kenobi show. Just get rid of all that. It doesn't exist.
No, just lose all the Disney stuff. All the post-Lucas stuff.
Well, we've got Andor.
More or less.
Yeah, because I like Andor. And Skeleton Crew wasn't offensive. It just wasn't developed.
Yeah, but they could still...
rework that.
Run all that stuff off and
make something new.
And still do something to make it work. And Andor can still be as good as it was.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so, you gotta pick things. So... let's talk about when KK was actually fucking fired.
Well,
according to this,
to this video, they back in October,
of last year, the 2024.
They
gave her papers.
Her contract was due for renewal, and they chose not to renew it.
Yeah.
And Bob Iger went to her and pretty much told her straight up that either she voluntarily leaves on her own volition, or they're just going to make it public that her contract was due and they didn't renew it, and she was essentially fired.
Not essentially, that she was fired.
Fired.
You want that hard word?
Not, you know.
But then one of his testicles descended, and he decided, oh no, I can't have the most powerful woman. And that's another thing. That's another thing. How is that bitch the most powerful woman in Hollywood? She has done nothing except serve bad coffee, fuck everything up, be a producer, and fuck Star Wars up.
Well, she's in that position.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, come on.
So this is George's fault, too.
The President of the United States is still the most powerful person in the world. And you look at some of them, and you're like, how did that person become that in that position, right? So
this is George's fault. George has blame to it, too. He talks about he sold it to the white slavers. Well, those were your goddamn kids, George. Why'd you sell it to the white slavers if you knew that's what was going to happen? Just saying.
Well,
just saying.
That one wasn't. I mean, he did have an existing relationship with Disney.
Yeah, but I don't care.
With the rides, you know, the Star Tours and things.
So.
And if he was going to sell it to anybody, Disney had the resources to at least carry it on.
But did they? They didn't.
But no, they didn't.
Yeah.
And he did put a lot of faith in Kathleen Kennedy's ability to carry on the franchise, because he handpicked her to be the CEO and run it.
And he got fucked in the ass too.
And he's even, pretty much come out and said that was his bad. It was a mistake, and he regrets it. So it was
So Bobby Iger couldn't fire her officially because the CEOs,
politics.
Politics. The CEOs in Hollywood all knew that Trump was going to win, but all the rank and file progressive mongoloids,
all the people at Disney were figuring on him winning. Yeah. And
all the upper ups, not the DEI fucking people and all that shit.
No, and all the lefty liberals of Hollywood were
Patrick
pretty
Stewart
much had their money on Kamala. But they were planning, or at least expecting, Trump to win.
Yeah.
And it would not suit them well with the current political climate in the country in general for the most powerful woman in the industry to be let go by a white man, kind of thing.
Straight white man, probably, right?
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
CIS male, let's go the most powerful female, and in an election year when
does that mean that the patriarchy exists? No, what it means is that money talks. So he didn't want to disrupt the stock market any worse.
Right, they thought it was.
Yeah, he didn't want Disney's stock to get any more fucked than it already was.
Yeah, because the volatility of our political climate, especially in the election, which does make sense. Those things need to be considered.
But he also, Cameron did say, it's Bob Iger's fault that she's been there and allowed to do this to Star Wars. And that's true.
Yeah.
And unless there was something where...
unless there was something
where it's an ironclad, where George said, if you buy Star Wars, you get her and you got to keep her, then it's also George's fault too.
Right.
We I'll poke an eye at anybody who thinks that George is a god, because he's not.
I've seen some indication, not that I've gone into it and looked deep and looked into like any legitimacy to any of it, but I have seen indication that Disney is kind of right now pressuring her to stay on, because and the only reason I can think of that is because they don't really have a suitable candidate to replace her,
and nobody wants it,
and anybody suitable wouldn't want it. Right.
It is
like the presidency.
No,
I wouldn't. Anybody who's suitable to be the president wouldn't want to fucking take it, right?
And I don't know about that. I think it's pretty suitable right now. But I think, but it's exactly like Pedro Pascal being Reed Richards. Like he was the one who agreed to it.
No, he was just the first one who said yes. Yeah, they were having a hard time casting it, and when they got to him and he said yes, they said, "Cool, you're hired."
Yeah,
and it wasn't for any brilliance in his screen test. I don't think he even had to do a screen test for it. But that is what it is too. The casting is I mean, casting is 75% of a director's job.
Yeah.
You got the right cast. 75% of your work is done. All you got to do is just work with them to gel and get put it in the can.
And then what was the other thing that he talked about?
Well, they did bring up, Mando Grogu and how at this point with Kathleen Kennedy being out of the picture, there's nothing she can do as far as impacting that film in any way. And people love Mandalorian, they love Grogu, and well, they did when it hit, but
yeah, I think Cameron's a little off on that because I was fine with how it ended in season 2. He's gonna go be a Jedi, and Mando doesn't have to fucking have this thing hanging off his nut, and he can go be a rogue and a scoundrel or a bounty hunter,
right?
And
not be a babysitter for a while.
Yeah,
no. And again, it was Kathleen Kennedy stepped in and said, "Oh no, you can't have Grogu out of the season for most of the season like that because he sells the most toys."
Now you can't give them away. They're fucking clogging ollies everywhere.
It's anyway. It just when they put more emphasis and priority on marketing and merch than they do storytelling, that's where we end up having a problem, right?
Pretty much.
The merch should come out of the storytelling. It should not dictate it.
Yes.
And Star Wars defined that.
Right.
Really. In the beginning.
Oh, but there were figures they never made.
Oh, bullshit. No.
Fucking retro bitching.
So what?
There's a playset I don't have.
Oh, wow.
Just saying.
No, I know. But no, Star Wars did define that marketing and merch package in the film industry. Like, it is because of Star Wars, the original film in 1977 and the original trilogy. Big blockbuster films now are pitched as a package like that. Yeah. It's not, oh, we're gonna see how the film does, and if it hits, we'll do this merch. No, they plan the merch ahead, and it's especially for the summer blockbusters. Yeah,
hey, I want the Last Starfighter toys. Have you ever seen those?
Not that I.
Oh my god, they were fucking. There was Junkman did a thing about it, and they did the promos for the toy fair at that year, and they're fucking awesome looking.
Yeah,
3 3/4 scale.
Yeah,
you can have him fucking kicking Luke Skywalker's ass. Let's not call him Luke Skywalker anymore. Let's just call him Mark Hamill. Yeah.
But
how many Mark Hamill dolls do you guys have? Oh. Notice I said the derivative term doll, not action figure.
Right. So, yeah, just more and more details coming out about the whole situation.
Yeah, and I can see it.
It is complicated. It's not a simple thing. She was under contract, so they were not really able to fire her without violating the contractual obligations. So that actually tracks. That's why she's been there and they haven't really been able to do much of anything about her.
Like a tick festering inside of a body.
Now that her contract is up, now they can do something about it. And oh geez, it's an election year, so it might be in bad form for us to make these announcements right now at this time.
I think that sounds. I think that's still an excuse. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying it was an excuse on Bobby's part. He should have pulled that trigger a long fucking time ago before the election.
You think it was a cop out?
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, contract be damned. Disney can afford to pay whatever breach of contract fines they would have. And
however they cornholed the acolyte would have been like, what the fuck? You're out, bitch.
But I mean, if you're under contract, that's a difference. There's a difference between that and working like gig to gig to gig.
Yeah, but still, there has to be.
But there got to be a clause in there somewhere.
Yeah, she has to meet certain quotas.
If you're that
fucking inept.
fucking it up that bad that this contract could be broken, or nullified, in some way, and there would have been a process that they would have probably been a very complicated thing that they'd have to have a paper trail,
but hold on.
whatever.
But
it could have been done.
They lacked the will to do it,
right?
Because they thought, oh, these dumb fucks that like Star Wars, you'll just slap a label on it and it'll be all right.
And you would think that if they had
so nobody in Disney
had knowledge that the contract was coming up for renewal and they had already made the decision not to renew, that they'd have somebody in line ready to go right now.
You would think.
Plus,
this just shows that Disney doesn't have a
testicle. It's just so short-sighted.
Doesn't have a testicle among all of them. You're all a bunch of nutless fucking wonders.
Eunuchs.
And that includes anybody that didn't stand up and tell Kathleen Kennedy to go fuck herself because of what she's doing to Star Wars. That means the people working in Lucasfilm or in adjunct parsecs.
It wasn't just Star Wars. It was,
Marvel.
All of the Lucas projects.
Yeah, all of them.
Anything that Lucas was doing, Kathleen Kennedy had her hands in it, and it was fucked.
Yeah.
Look at Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Look at some of the video games, more recent video game projects. And Willow.
I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised they didn't do anything to Howard the Duck.
Oh no! Thank God Howard the Duck has been put in the MCU, because it was a Marvel property.
Yeah, I know, but
Lucas made the movie, but it was a Marvel property. It always has been. It's not their property.
But still. But I don't like the voice actor.
I know you don't, but it's not a Lucas property that.
But they had the when you see her out on the fucking, you see Howard the Duck, or I'm like, what the fuck? That's not really. I mean, you guys did the movie, but it's not
right. But I mean, oh god, Willow was just so bad that they even pulled it from the streaming service. You can't even go and watch it on demand. And if you compare that, Willow and The Dark Crystal, which are comparable, around the same time of films and the same type of
Dark Crystal is fucking
genre.
Awesome.
And Netflix's Dark Crystal series that they did was outstanding.
Yes,
with the Henson Studios and it was fucking awesome. I mean, it was. I cried. I shed tears. It was that moving at times with fucking puppets. And Willow, I couldn't even get through the first episode, man. I was like, oh, I ain't doing this. This is And I loved Willow too.
I liked Willow.
I did. Good. I mean, it wasn't jumping out of your skin awesome.
No, but I liked the costumes and stuff.
But,
so yeah.
I mean, I liked it more than I didn't.
And Val Kilmer was,
yeah, Matt Mardigan, man, he was great, and even Willow himself. What's his name?
Wicket. Yeah.
Yeah, Wicket. Warwick Davis.
So anyway, tell us what you think, and go watch our first one. It's Star Wars: Revenge of the KK, where we kind of nail it. Right on the fucking head in the first spot.
Right away, as soon as the news hit that, she's leaving, and we saw what they were saying and where the sources were, and we're like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly.
And everybody else was throwing parties and
fucking cats and dogs fist fucking each other. They were so happy.
Right. It was the second coming.
Yeah. Amen.
I mean, for real. And we're like,
no, it's not.
I ain't putting anything up on that until I see it.
Yeah. Until I see that that bitch walking out of the studio.
Because I mean, this was according to sources and reported secondhand. And I was like, no, you know what? Until I see it officially from the horse's mouth, I'm going to take all of it with a grain of salt.
I mean, and I would prefer that hers, Jar Jar Abrams, and Roundhead Johnson, their heads are put on pikes outside the gates of Disneyland just to prove that they're gone.
Yeah.
But, hey,
we can't all... Sleeping Beauty's castle, man.
Right? We can't all get what we want, but, it is what it is.
Right next to Ned Stark.
So, with that, tell us what you think. Like, share, subscribe.